Warning, dad jokes ahead. This video is going to be really boring. Hey y'all, I'm James Wright. Welcome to my shop. I recently did a video on auger bits, what you need to know about them, how to sharpen them, what you're looking for when you want to find them. And one of the questions I kept getting is, okay, I have a good auger bit, it's nice and sharp. How do I make sure that hole is plumb and square and exactly where I want it to be? So I want to go through a few tips of how you can turn this into a very accurate tool to drill a very accurate hole that is square and true and exactly what you want it to be. So let's actually dive in and take a look. Now with 99% of the holes I drill, I end up just using them freehand, and I'll place the bit where it needs to be, and the lead screw gives you a really nice location. You can put that in your crosshair and you can set that exactly where it needs to be. And then I'm going to put my right hand, my dominant hand, on top, because the most important work is where you're going. So if you're left-handed, your left hand will be on top. Some people try and do it the other way. Your dominant hand should be the one controlling its direction. So that goes on top. And then I'm going to put my forehead on my hand, just like this. And what this allows me to do is I can sight down the screw. And with it sighting down the screw, I can very easily see which way I'm leaning this way. And with just my eye, I can get a very, very accurate measurement of what is 90 degrees here, this direction. Now the problem is with this, I have no idea what this direction is that goes to and from me. And so what I can do is actually drill it down until the knickers touch the wood. And I'll notice when the knickers touch the wood, if they're digging deeper on one side than the other, that means I'm leaning one way or the other. And so the first time I touch, I'm looking at the side farthest from me and the side closest to me to make sure that those lines are the same. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in, and I'm going to leave the handle away from me a little ways. And then I'm going to step back, and I'm going to see, is it leaning one way or the other way. In this case, I'm leaning back just a little bit. And so I'm just going to push this over this way, just a hair, right to there. And I'm going to come back over here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock myself into this position. I'm going to feel what my body feels like. I'm going to put my hand here. I'm going to put my hand drill here. And I know I have a tendency to kind of pull back. And so I'm just kind of thinking about that just to hold myself forward a little bit. And I'll crank a little bit more. And then after a few cranks, I'm going to check it again and just make sure. I'm going to let go. I'm going to check it. I'm going to check it. That's pretty darn accurate. And then drill out the hole. And really with that, I can get really accurate. For dog holes, for regular, any holes you're going to be drilling for your mortises, there are very, very few holes where that amount of accuracy is not enough. You're really kind of hard-pressed to find something that requires more accuracy than that. Some of the instances where you're going to need more accuracy, something like this, I'm putting these metal rods through several plates of wood, and I want these to be able to slide back and forth. So I need these holes to not only be at 90 degrees, I need them to be parallel, and I need to be in the same position. And so for something like this, I have to take it a step farther. So let's take it a step farther and make sure our accuracy is right on. So with this method, I'm probably within a degree or two of accuracy that is pretty darn close, and it's very rare that I have to do anything other than just eyeballing it. If I want to get a little bit more accurate, then I get myself with two squares that I can stand up. If you do have a smaller compound square, you can use that, but if it's too tall, then it might interfere with the brace as it comes around. You might end up hitting that. So gotta be careful with that. And I'll just set up one this way, and I'll set up one this way, and I just kind of go between the two. So I set my mark where I want it to be, and then I will crank it down just as before until the knickers touch. And while I'm looking down here, my head is on the handle, so my head is keeping this in place, and I'm kind of listening to my entire body, and I'm going to focus along this one, and I can eyeball, as my eyes are right here, I can see the distance between the screw and this, and I know that I'm straight that way. And so as I'll crank a little bit, I'll just kind of work around a little bit to over here. I'll check that one, and then I'll let go of it. I'll come back, and I'll get back into position. I'll check this one. I'm going to do a quarter crank here. I'm going to let go. I'm going to come back. I'm going to check this one, another crank, come back, check this one, and once I do this a little ways, it'll pretty much hold itself, but I'll occasionally still check it from one side to the other, And these just give you a little bit better visual reference to make sure that everything is the way you want it to be. Once you're in an inch or so, you're pretty much dead set in the direction you're going though. And just like that, you can keep on going through. And in all honesty, I have never had an instance where I've had to drill something straighter than what I can get with that. This will get me well within a single degree or less, usually immeasurable. If I get a square I can fit in there, I can actually get a precise reading and know that this is square indeed. Now for 99.9% of everything I need to do, I just freehand the brace. And most of the time, I'm just eyeballing down it and making sure my own eyes that it is straight and square. And that will get me most of the way I need to be. Every now and then, I'm going to find something that I need to use a square to tell me I'm true, but it's pretty rare. I really only do that like once every 100 holes or so that I have something that accurate. Even when I was putting together this kerfing plane with all of these holes that have to be both parallel and accurate and in the same plane, I did it all by eye. I used the square for about half of those, and the other half I just eyeballed and checked out, and it worked perfectly. It is really kind of amazing how accurate you can be with that, as long as you take your time and you're not just racing through it. Now, if you don't trust yourself and you just feel like you've got to do something more, you can get a post drill, and this is basically a drill press, and as long as you have everything set up to be at 90 degrees, you're going to get a nice clean line. Not to mention, it's a lot of fun. But these aren't for everyone, and they're harder to find, and they're kind of expensive. I did a video on restoring this if you want to see that. But most of the time, I'm just eyeballing it and keeping a close eye on two different planes, not only the direction you're looking, but then turning 90 degrees and look at it from the other direction. You can be really darn accurate in what you need. There you have it. With a simple brace, a couple squares, you can make a very accurate, true hole. Now, is this something that you're going to pick up the very first time? Maybe, maybe not. It's not that hard of a skill, and most people can pick it up pretty quickly. Once you try doing a few test holes, you'll see what you need to do. You start to feel your body mechanics. You can feel how you're holding it, where you're moving around, and you pick it up very, very quickly. Don't overstress yourself on how deadly accurate. I mean, really go and try it on your own drill press, and you might be surprised at how accurate or not accurate it is. This is not that difficult of a task once you kind of figure it out and go at it. Slow down, look at what you're doing, and you'll get a really good, accurate, straight hole. So I hope you like it. This has been an interesting one for me with a few other tips. I do want to say thank you to the patrons on Patreon. You guys are the reason why I can keep putting out videos like this. If you'd like to find out more about that or help out, you can do so right down over here. Also, if you'd like to subscribe or see some behind-the-scenes footage, you can do those as well. That's about it, and until next time, have a wonderful day.